A little bit more about myself, and there's a reason why I'm going to be sharing this, is I grew up poor, but my parents, and especially my mother, never made me feel that way. My parents are amazing, amazing individuals. So some of the stuff I'm going to tell you, it's not because they were horrible to me, they weren't. Okay, we grew up poor. I remember cooking food on a kerosene heater because we didn't have electricity. All that stuff. I grew up in a Christian home, but that still doesn't mean that there was no issues. One of the top ones is my dad had post-traumatic stress disorder. Does anybody know what that is? PTSD? Yes. Yeah. He was in Vietnam and he's a Marine. And I still have no idea what he did, but I just know it affected him. And growing up in a household, and I have no idea what it would have been like without him knowing Jesus. But it was very hard at times. One other thing about myself is I have never gotten drunk. I've never gotten high. And that's this one that shocks people, and sometimes I don't want to say this because everyone's like, oh. But I've never kissed a boy. Yet. You know, I used to be ashamed of this, but I'm not anymore because it's something that God has called me to. And we'll be talking about that in a few minutes. And especially to those of you young ladies who feel that that's what you have to do to get love. However, I did struggle with anger and depression. Hardcore. My sister walked in on me one time with the razor blade to my wrist. She still can't talk about it. She's still like, don't talk to me! You know, she still can't handle that. And I struggled so hard. I was angry. People who know me now can't imagine myself like that. But I was angry at the world. Nothing made me happy. I've been teased and looked down upon because of my weight. I've dealt with prejudice several times because of my race. My dad is Mexican, my mother is Swedish. And because I'm alone in the ministry. In kindergarten, my first grade teacher told my parents and other teachers that my sister and I were retarded because we had speech impediments. In fact, right now, it's hard for me to talk sometimes. It's a lot easier, my name is Margot. The R is a killer. It's so much easier to say Margot. Okay, I grew up with speech impediment, and they were told that I was retarded. I'm not, by the way. Sorry, I was going to say something else. I had family tell my parents that if my sister and I ever did something, it would be great. And I had a neighbor who was a little too friendly with me. And why do I say all this? Because for two reasons. Number one, share my heart with you so that you know where I'm coming from. And you can hear what I have to say. Because some of you don't hear unless you know someone is coming from a similar direction that you are. And number two, if God can use me, a young woman who thought she could never do anything in this world, God can use you. Yes. You can face things that you never thought possible. And just because you become a Christian does not mean you won't go through stuff. It means you don't have to go through it alone.